And welcome everyone to another edition of the Torn Quadcast here on the WRMN Radio YouTube page. I am one of your hosts, Elliott Serrano, joined as always by Mark Allen Fishman. How you doing, Mark?
Doing good. Thank you for not forgetting.
I mean, forgetting who you are. I mean, it's written right there.
Oh, shoot! Yeah, that works.
I mean, when I do remember, I'll take credit for it. But you know, I
That
have
also works.
I do tell people I'm bad with names. I always forget names. The Torn Quadcast is the show where we talk about sports entertainment, sports, and entertainment. I should say that second comma is an Oxford comma. And we do like to talk about pro wrestling, AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, Fantastic League of Wrestling. We've been talking about that, as well as other forms of entertainment. I've got my Superman shirt on today. We're going to take a little bit deeper dive into Superman. I believe you've gotten a chance to see it.
Yes, I did. I have plans to see it again, again and again, and again and again.
Same here, yeah. But and because we know that we're getting preempted by the White Sox tonight, no breaks. We can just go straight through. We don't have to worry about formatting for the stick. So let's jump right into things. We're going to first talk about the AEW's most recent pay-per-view, because they still do pay-per-views. It was called AEW All In.
Yep.
I did follow afterwards the results and everything after what was going on, and yeah, I only cared about Toni Storm, but I think a lot of other payoffs came that I believe you were happy with.
Yeah, I mean, from the fans' perspective here, I think this show was what they were hoping for. AEW love to shove all of their big numbers on Wednesday's Dynamite, talking about this was the largest gate in company history in North America. It had the most engagement that they've ever had. It had, they boasted all the things, but my favorite personally was the meme I saw of the parent with the AEW All In replacing the head, smacking the child that had WrestleMania on its head. It was a great indicator of show quality and significant lack of mid-match ad breaks for Slim Jims.
Yeah, all right.
But we do have some good results. We can kind of bust through some of the quickies here. The Ops defeated the Death Riders for the the trios titles, so no titles exchanged hands here. An interesting choice, but I think it's all leading up to where things might be going with the Death Riders. We don't know. MJF, my boy, won the men's casino gauntlet. Thank God. Dustin Rhodes, interestingly enough, at upwards of 60 years of age, is now the TNT champion after an odd Adam Cole, baby, possible retirement announcement. It was very weird. He came out, he was super apologetic. He said he loved the fans, but there was some issues that he had to relinquish the title. This is the second time he has had to relinquish a title due to health concerns. It wasn't said at the event, but I know that it was said later. This is due to concussion protocol. And if you've not seen recently, Kyle Fletcher inadvertently tried to do one of those power bombs against the apron, but he missed by a country mile, and Adam took a header on that one. And I think that was part of all of this. So, of all of this, anyway, Dustin Rhodes, formerly Gold Dust, is now your TNT title champion. I have a strong feeling, having not finished all of Dynamite yet, that I think he's going to do the old school, when I lose this belt, I'm going to retire. Because dude is getting up there. But hey, he is still as entertaining as he's ever been. So thumbs up to you. Now we get into some of the bigger ones here. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay defeated the Young Bucks. So the Young Bucks are no longer your EVPs in kayfabe. And I will say I did catch. They were in Chicago this week, and I caught all the vignettes and things that they were doing to show that they are no longer the EVPs. I don't think I've laughed this hard in 5 years in wrestling. They came out to their old intro with them coming out of limos, looking super rich and fancy, and then they do their big pose, and that's when there's supposed to be a bunch of fireworks and pyro behind them, and no pyro will go off. And the announcers are saying, we can't afford it for them anymore. They're not the EVPs. And as soon as they said that, the Titantron or Jumbotrons or whatever cut out, and they replaced their super fancy production with like a Microsoft clip art video package that says they are no longer Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They're just Matt and Nick. And then the insult to injury, the piece de la resistance, the ring announcer did a stupid intro for them. Normally he has to do this big bombastic naming all of their credits and everything, and he just in a sing-songy voice is like, and here they are, Matt and Nick, the Young Bucks. And just to see the ire on their face by even being insulted by the ring announcer, I mean, loved it. Aside from that, Athena won the women's casino gauntlet, so she is next up. This is an interesting one for me. She basically ruled Ring of Honor for the last 3 or 4 years. Held onto that belt, defended it every pay-per-view they had. I think it's more than time for her to level up, and she'll be an interesting bout for Toni. But while we're talking about that, Toni Storm won. Which,
I mean, does that put an end to the whole Mercedes Mone thing, or are they going to try to continue it? It seemed like there was so much buildup, and it's like, okay, Mercedes, you get every belt except this one.
It's an interesting. I don't know if this is Toni doing a little wink and a nudge to Cody having to finish the story. That maybe Mercedes needs to do the same. I have not watched any of her segments this week on Dynamite, so I can't report as to like what happened there, but it was a curious move. I think you and I kind of booked this in a manner of saying like, what did Toni have left to do? But the other thing is she is so over that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like she doesn't really need the belt anymore. She's like Rhea Ripley. I mean, she's always chasing the belt, but she doesn't need it.
It's an interesting conundrum, but let's have our cake and eat it too while Toni is still our champion. So good for her.
Give her flowers. She deserves it. And I mean, again, absolutely. To me, she is the most compelling character in AEW.
It's hard to argue. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, the Hurt Syndicate defeated the Patriarchy and Jet Speed to retain their tag team titles. The interesting thing to come out of this, Nick Wayne and Kip Saban, or whatever the name of his other guy is, they turned on Christian. They gave him a famouser, or I'm sorry, the unprettier, or whatever he's calling it this today. They gave him his own move. And then that opened up the doors for a returning Adam Copeland, Edge, to come back, pick up his former partner, and basically tell him, when you're ready, let's go do this thing. So I get the feeling like we're going to get like, let's put these guys back together. Okay, we've done enough with them with the single thing. They're both super talented, but let's give them their flowers too. They're a little long in the tooth as well. So I imagine them versus the Hurt Syndicate would be a really good match. It'd be an interesting way for them to kind of go out. We'll see if that's where they head. Last two to go. Kazuchika Okada defeats Kenny Omega to become the not Intercontinental Champion. They're calling it the Unified Champion, which to me is the worst name for a belt possible, because what does that mean in context to your world champion?
Yeah, I know. Plus, I saw the bits about how he's gonna be he's going to be defending the belt all over the world. He's going to be going everywhere. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean it is an international championship, so it makes
yeah,
sense from the business side. Basically, Tony Khan saying my world champion stays with me. This champion I will rent out to the highest bidders throughout the world. And Kazuchika Okada is great, so
so
cool.
the irony is the world champion does not go out to the world.
Correct.
The other champion who's not the world champion goes out to the world.
Yes, because we live on planet Unity. And last, and thank God.
Yeah, I saw
Hangman,
this. I saw this, and I'm like, oh yeah, Mark's happy.
Hangman Adam Page defeated Jon Moxley. I mean, it's a Texas death match. I can't say clean, but he literally hung Moxley by a chain around his neck, and Moxley clearly taps. There's nowhere else for him to go. This included so many run-ins and blah blah blah. Dusty Rhodes wasn't spinning in his grave; he was clapping. He was so excited. This included a comeback for Darby Allin, who showed a video from on top of Mount Everest that he climbed, and he cut a promo after doing that to say, Jon Moxley, I am going to take everything away from you. And he descended from the rafters at 2 miles an hour, a la Sting, and dove onto the crowd of other run-in people, which allowed us for the finish. I know a bunch of other people got in the ring, but who cares? Hangman's your champion. Hangman came out this week on Dynamite. I watched his whole segment. I really appreciated that he comes out. The crowd is super amped for it, and they're chanting anything they could think of. They start a chant of "You deserved it," and Adam stops them and cuts a live, unscripted promo, and he turns it back on the fans and says, "No, no, 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 no. You deserved it." The whole notion that Jon Moxley has held this belt for 9 months in a metal case is ridiculous. You deserve a champion. The whole of AEW was started on this DIY mentality. I am here to represent that. I am here for you. And you have no idea to the fans, like what you've done for me, which kind of completes the character arc. He went super bad guy, and the crowd would not stop giving in and cheering for him. So this is like the full redemption. He and Swerve are frenemies going forward, and that's that. So all in all, I think Tony Khan delivered what he wanted to on this show, and hey, double thumbs up for me.
Why does Tony Khan have to be at every press conference?
I don't know.
He's sitting there next to the talent. Why does he have to be sitting there next to the talent? Why can't he be like Triple H? Let the talent come out and then you come out afterwards.
You know, because he's a giant fanboy, Elliott, and anytime that he can get FaceTime, I imagine like that to him, like that's the time he gets to hang out with them. Otherwise, he's just, sitting in an office somewhere.
Yeah, but
who knows?
You don't the owner of the
TKO.
New England, the owner of the New England Patriots doesn't come out and sit next to the coach, while he's doing the post-game press conference. You have no owners in any sports that come out, and even you don't even know, half the time you never see them.
And I agree with you, Elliott, that this is something that Tony is spearheading, and I can't wait to see more owners sitting next to their players at press conferences. I think it's a great look.
Oh man, this week has already been too long.
Sorry.
All right.
No,
all right.
It's pretty silly. It's silly.
That's fine. I get that. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate All In?
As far as I'm concerned, like a 7. It's good, great at parts, too long, like every pay-per-view. And it's just a sign of AEW style. I'm a little sick of the 1-2 kick out, and they are 1-2 kick out happy. Everybody gets superpowers in AEW. The finish half the time comes out of nowhere because someone looked at a watch and went, "Oh, okay, yeah, finish."
Oh, that's everywhere right now. The WWE's been doing that now. Well,
Yeah,
they've been doing
but
it for a while. So
I like literally could not have been happier with pretty much everything. I think Dustin Rhodes winning was a little silly given the other three people that could have taken that belt, but I'm thinking that he's there to be a transition to another young talent when it's time. Um, I'm most curious, honestly, like I'm hopeful this is the end of the Death Rider faction thing. Let John Moxley go home, be with his daughter, be with Renee, reset a little bit, and find a new character. I'm not looking for a complete 180, but I think this whole savage, crazy psychopath thing that he did, the experiment failed. Like whatever he did 9 months ago when he came out and said, I'm going to change the industry. This business will never look the same after I'm done with it. And I was like, no, you were a hardcore champion that cheated to win a bunch of times. I don't get it.
yeah, everyone says they're going to change the business, and every time I wake up, I look at the business, it looks the same to me. So
Oh, by the way, props and shouts out to Brian Danielson, who also made an appearance briefly to knee John Moxley in the teeth for that whole putting the plastic bag over his head murder. So
there we go.
that's as good as any. But that wasn't the only show that happened on Saturday, he says, as he throws to Elliott.
Really? No, I was going to say, but John Moxley was like, there will be no comeuppance. No comeuppance. And yet there was.
Always.
Okay, yes, there was another show, which ironically, I did not catch it right away. I had to go back and catch a replay of it. Saturday night's main event, which happened on Peacock, and it was funny. As an aside, I was listening to an old interview with Jerry Seinfeld, where he says that the first season of Seinfeld, after they filmed the pilot, apparently the studio hated it. And then to be able to keep the season going, they actually took money from 1 month that was supposed to go to the original Saturday night's main event. You remember when Saturday night's main event used to air in the slot that Saturday Night Live would air in?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, they took the money from one Saturday night's main event and they put it towards Seinfeld to do 3 episodes. I'm like, holy crap, how much did they pay for Saturday night's main event back then? They got 3 Seinfelds out of it. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure they got the better end of that. That was a pretty good trade, you know.
Late night TV is expensive. Ask CBS.
Oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. For folks who are not aware, Stephen Colbert just announced that the Late Show is getting canceled. It's not that it's going that he's getting replaced or anything. Just the show's being canceled altogether. There are folks who are saying it's because of the settlement that Paramount wants to do, and CBS want to do, to make our current president happy. And Stephen Colbert is very critical of our current president, and our current president is as thin-skinned as I don't know what. But also, I think there's another issue too. As you said, late night television is expensive, and people don't just stay up and watch late night television anymore. If anything, most people they get the bits online. That a lot of these late night shows are formatted so that they can then rebroadcast on YouTube, on and all that. I'm surprised that they're not just deciding to port the show over to the streaming, like to YouTube or something, and make it again a more of an evergreen thing, and avoid maybe cut down some of the costs.
Well,
I mean,
the show itself is canned in 2026, so there's probably time for them to waffle. But yeah, to your point, Saturday Night Main Event itself is a costly endeavor, and yeah, to see it on Peacock, I mean, look, I'm never not going to love a throwback, and I do love sort of the branding and the way in which they kind of do that. And as children of the 80s, it's great to see.
it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I don't think they're pulling it off as well as they did early on. When they first brought it back.
True.
Then they don't. But still, I guess it's a branding thing. And now that now that they've got to generate so much content. I mean, no, now it's not just we got to come up with stuff for a SmackDown and a Raw and a pay-per-view. Now we've got to got to come up with all these new events. Now I remember when Saturday Night's Main Event was like a special thing. You got maybe one or two, well, maybe three a year.
Yeah.
And now it's like now they're throwing that into the regular rotation in WWE. In addition to the PLEs.
It's like
Yeah,
we talked about last week with the NFL. Sometimes the content farm right now is contenting maybe
yeah,
too much.
big time, yeah. And then NFL starting up soon.
Yeah.
But to that point, what of note happened? Of course, Goldberg had his match and then had his goodbye cut short at the end.
See, now it's interesting. There's theories abound on this, right? So
My-
I actually liked Stevie Richards' take on it. I
yeah,
think he was correct. The match itself was mistimed, which we could talk about in a sec, but effectively it was supposed to be Gunther wins, Goldberg sells, maybe waves out to the crowd silent, no speech. Show goes off the air. They keep taping for the website. Goldberg stands up. Then he gives his retirement address and walks out. Not the way that they had done it, which is match is over. Gunther leaves. Goldberg gets up, starts his retirement speech. It gets cut off after a minute on the feed, and then he continues to talk to the rest of the crowd. Which, if you haven't been on the internet this week, Goldberg is pissed.
yeah. Oh.
But here's the funny thing, as Stevie Richards also pointed out, this isn't Goldberg's only retirement. This is his third go around with the WWE trying to pull this thing off. And it seems like every time it biffs, he blames everybody. But if you can't get it right 3 times in a row, maybe it's not the WWE's problem.
Yeah, and again, I mean, he's already Triple H already announced that I guess Goldberg's kid is getting ready. Like if the NFL doesn't work out, he's going to WWE. So
Just like Dad.
yeah, so there was that. There was it was a picture going out. Obviously, it was AI, but it was hilarious. It's of Bret Hart in the control room for WWE, and he's like ordering them to cut the feed on Goldberg. Goldberg's on screen. He's like, cut the feed, cut the feed.
You know what? I like it. And honestly, the other thing is too the controversy. People are saying that like Goldberg apparently like didn't like the booking or whatever. And I'm like, first of all, he was fine with the booking. He took the paycheck. He knew well in advance who was winning that match. He wouldn't have signed the deal without knowing. And I tip my hat to the fellow for at least doing the smart thing, which is put over the new talent. Albeit apparently, controversy abound, he no-sold one of Gunther's chops, and that is kind of a less than desirable thing to do. You don't kick out at one on your opponent's finisher, and you don't undersell their signature moves.
That's always been his thing, though. It's always
Very much. I
again,
mean, that's it. It's on brand. It's just that his brand stinks.
right. Right. I mean, let's we'll talk about Steven Regal trying to get a match out of the guy and not able to do it, and then later on Goldberg bitching about it, and Regal like, look, I'm sorry, but this is kind of like what I was asked to do, and blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
He said, "Give me 20 minutes," and just to see if he could do it. And you know what? It sure doesn't help when it's that people just expose the faults. And the thing is, I know you and I've talked about it before, and I'll reiterate it again. I was never a fan of Goldberg. I don't understand the fandom around it. They booked him to be this amazing monster, but the problem with doing that is eventually the wheels come off. And you got to get the heck out of Dodge when that happens, not keep tooling around. And he had no place in WWE. I remember way back in the 90s, your WCW heads going, oh, Goldberg's got to face Stone Cold one day. He's going to kill him. Like, no. Stone Cold could fight 5 Goldbergs at once and still win.
Stone Cold could fight 5 Goldbergs and chug beers.
and
and do
still
it
win.
while the Goldbergs would be like, give,
Yeah.
give me a minute. Give,
I
give,
mean, it's
give me a
it's
minute.
sad to say, but you know that WWE actually proved to me that you can do a Goldberg angle that has nuance, and its name was Ryback, and for half a minute, it was entertaining
Yes, yes. Well, weren't they chanting that at Ryback at one point? Like
all the time.
they're doing that with him. But
And
then
then he changed it to Feed Me More, and he got it over. Like I remember that time because I the first time I saw him and I heard from the CM Punk camp that he was unsafe and he was a terrible guy and blah blah blah, and I put it on to see what's what, and then I saw him throw Mark Henry and like a jobber on his back and marched them around the ring, and I was like, well, at least he's ridiculously strong.
hmm
And then he
hmm
cut a promo where he admitted to being dumber than a box of rocks, and I'm like, Andy's funny.
Well, that's because CM Punk made him do that. It's like you got to admit it. Either you did that on purpose, or you're dumber than a box of rocks. You go, oh, I'm dumber than a box of rocks.
Put
I
the
mean,
bread around your ears. What are you? I'm an idiot sandwich.
you say
I love, yeah, it is what it is. But
that. And speaking
yeah,
of folks, yeah, I'm sorry. Speaking of folks getting hurt, though,
yeah,
yeah,
read my mind.
yep. Seth Rollins, uh, doing as I saw him on the Rich Eisen show, or he was hosting Rich Eisen, and he was saying it's 2015 all over again. He same sort of injury. He
Oh,
said it felt,
but
but it
is
felt,
it?
yeah, I know, but it kind of like felt the same. But yes, he says it's going to keep him out of commission for a while.
Oh yeah.
He is like it did the last time, and but he looks at it differently because last time he was world champion and he was like pretty much captain with the ball, was supposed to run with it, then he couldn't run with it anymore. Now it's like he knows that it's not all on him, and he goes he's gonna spend some time with his daughter. And yeah, and you just feel for the guy because they had that whole you see they have that whole program, and all of a sudden, boom, they're pushing Braun Breaker versus Gunther. I'm like, that was fast. I mean, maybe again, necessity is the mother of invention or whatever. But with that, I'm already jumping ahead to Raw, but the thing with uh with Seth Rollins does change things. Although I can't see why he can't just come out and it doesn't wrestle, but it can appear. You know,
Well, I think it all leads to all of these other reporting sites are coming up and saying this isn't what it seems. There's several folk out there now. Again, it could be real, it could be fake. We don't know. That's part of the fun of sports entertainment. But folks are postulating that they already knew about some nagging concerns that are not as major as he's making it out to be, and that he has put his acting chops to the test to pull off the finish that they did with LA Knight, and that this whole thing is a work that will ultimately lead to him cashing in the money in the bank when we all least expect it. Because the fact is, the last time he had it, it was the heist of the century at WrestleMania when he turned in and took it away from Roman. So now the take is he'll come back when we least expect it to Reign of Terror his way back to the top. And there's speculation abound as to what that could mean. I, as a fan, I kind of look at this as a great opportunity for them to actually dip the toe in the water about Braun Breaker getting out of what I would call the solid mid card and maybe start teetering towards top of card just as a test. Like, could this guy swim with the sharks there? And could he hold his own as like the A-lister in a faction?
yeah, but to do that, you got to shake shake a belt loose and put it on him. One of the world championships. You got the Cena belt. Well, you have Cena and the undisputed championship belt. That's going to be tied up till at least the end of 2025. Uh, Gunther's got the belt back on him. You pretty much, I mean, I don't know if you want to shake it loose from him just yet.
I mean, I also don't think it has to happen in a month.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, we know how it goes. Like there could easily be a screwy finish, or one of the other gentlemen in their unnamed faction could sneak his way in, or they could just get frustrated and just beat up Gunther and just purposefully lose, but keep it rolling. Like there's a bunch of different ways they could go with it, and like that's the one thing I like is when WWE can force themselves into unpredictability. And I think this is a good opportunity because when you have the money in the bank, the novelty, I think personally, has worn way the hell off. About the will they, won't they, when will they kind of deal.
Right.
Um, but if this also ties into, by the way, so we don't like drop it too. It's the same idea. Money in the Bank winner Naomi cashing in, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if he's injured, obviously, I hope that he convalesces at home, enjoys his time with his daughter, comes back stronger, and with hopefully less clear booking influence than his wife.
Yeah. That's the thing I don't get. They're both touring. Where's their kid? I mean, is that poor kid like going around everywhere with them, or is it the kid with a nanny or whatever? I don't know.
I
Hey, you know what?
imagine.
It's none of my business. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I imagine either there's family that watches the kid, because I doubt they tour with their daughter,
They did
but
for a bit, but yeah.
yeah.
When Becky first came back, she had the kid with her. So yeah.
I am like, honestly, I think what it might just be is they just look Alexa Bliss watch her. What else
Nah,
does she do?
I don't get that. Yes, Naomi takes the belt, and the following day on Raw does it. When she comes out, everyone goes, "You deserve it." And she goes, "No, no, don't you start." She tells, unlike Hangman Page, goes, "No, no, y'all thought I was just going to be hanging out. You didn't think I'd be able to do this." And I'm like, "Oh, ooh.
I like when I love when a wrestler realizes it's a live show and the audience is a part of that. You have to acknowledge it. You don't just rush the script. She's super talented. She does deserve it. But of course, like every time folks like that kind of get into that title picture, now the question is, will they trust her with it? Can she defend it to have a memorable reign? That's kind of the big questions to answer, and I think she's a beatable champion, which is great because like when you have a Rhea Ripley, world beater, it's like Toni Storm. Everyone's shadow boxing with God.
Yeah,
She comes in.
yeah." I have a feel that to your point, you said, will she hold it longer than her husband? I'm like, yeah. Right now, it's what's happening with on. I think on the women's side is that they're just playing hot potato with the titles. You already see the Intercontinental Championship changed, the U.S. title is changing, the women's heavyweight championship is bouncing around a bit. I forgot. Do they still have the second? Yes, they do. The other championship, the WWE championship. That's on the
Yeah, they still have way too many belts.
Right. But the belts are like they keep going around. They just keep up, turning around. So everyone gets. It's like in the variation on Andy Warhol. Everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. In WWE,
Everybody gets a belt for 15 minutes.
For 15 minutes, yeah. So, which is, I guess, fine. I always say though, what annoys me, we've talked about this before, is that wrestling fans are always, oh, well, this person's really over. They're really good. They should get a belt. I'm like, you forget that, like, I saw some gal on TikTok was talking about Drew McIntyre doesn't have a belt on him. He should have a belt. I'm like, he's had a belt. Actually, he was world champion for a while. Mind you, it was during COVID, and he and he's had the belt. Do you love him? Okay, great, you love him. Do you love him less because he does not have a belt? No. So then it shouldn't matter at that point. If the key, I will admit, when I was young, I used to think, oh, my favorite wrestler should have the championship and so on. But it's even gotten to the point where, hey, your favorite wrestler did have the championship, and it was so unimpressive that you forgot that they had the championship. So,
which again, that could be the shame and blame you could place almost anywhere, but my first finger goes to the writing staff, because you can't just put the cummerbund on the waist and think that instantly generates story. You have to have the follow through for the story. It's why I'm so livid, as many AEW fans were, about Jon Moxley, because the story wasn't there. He beat Bryan Danielson, took the belt, proclaimed something, and then the next week it was like they forgot it. And with like Drew or any of the other champions that have had like quick reigns, I mean, look, I don't want to dunk on the dude, but main event Jey Uso wins the big one at WrestleMania and then almost as quickly loses it. They didn't have the story ready, or they didn't trust him enough to be like, you are this beatable champion, you're going to fight from underneath, even though you are the champion. Like, they had a story there. They balked. So, it is what it is. I'm happy for Naomi. I'll just put it that way. And may her reign be longer than her husband, so that she may lord it over him for years to come.
And what is the talk? Roman Reigns. But you said Roman Reigns is back. Did I miss that?
I thought he came back on SmackDown. Did I catch that wrong?
I did not see SmackDown, so I'm not
okay. There, sure. I saw a thing. It could have been wrong, but it apparently I thought he was back.
Because I know Rikishi was saying that he wants to have a new. He wanted to form a new faction and have Roman Reigns in it. It would be Roman, the Uso brothers, and Jacob Fatu, and another one of their cousins, and then Rikishi would be the wise man. So,
yeah, I think he wanted to call it the Bloodline.
Okay. What? Yeah. I mean, hey,
sorry,
it sold T-shirts now. Again, my question again is, if Roman Reigns comes back, what chief is he? What tribe is he the chief of? Because there are no tribes.
No, there's no more tribes. But according to Solo, there is a family tree.
Yes.
And
that we know, right? We saw that at the WrestleMania setup from 2 years ago, when they were when they were trying to set up The Rock versus Roman, and they pointed to the tree and blah blah blah.
The fan said,
Yeah, which again, I don't know. They tried, and since then we haven't seen The Rock ever since.
I won't get as hyped up as you versus your mortal enemy Trash Panda here, but I will say to WWE, the largest finger of shame I can wag at you for, first of all, the dumbest faction name I've ever heard, My Family Tree, but we're just going to refer to it as MFT, which sounds awfully close to MJF, especially when you use the font that he's been using for 5 years on this new merchandise. No. Double thumbs down.
MFT sounds too much like NFT.
Right, which is equally dorky.
I was saying, and those didn't last long either. So
it's a dumb name. Shortening it to an acronym is even dumber. And I don't want to say this, but like, okay, this is a big family. Is it possible there are too many Samoans in wrestling?
I mean,
can we spread them out?
There have always been a million Samoans, but it's like you bring them in and see how long they last. I mean, even the Bloodline 2.0 didn't last that long. I think the other one, Jacob Fatu came in later, and he's the only one that's held out since.
We could be culturally insensitive and make a couple of them Japanese.
Well, like they've gone back. Asuka and is it Asuka and Kairi Sane? They're the Kabuki Warriors. They're bringing that one back.
Yeah, nothing sus about that. Um,
No cap.
but yeah, I mean, like we all know Yokozuna, their uncle, was not Japanese
Not Japanese. I know. It's
at
the whole.
all.
The thing that amuses me is that they look at those characters, and again, like the Wild Samoans and all, and they say, oh, they were great characters, they were great wrestlers, and we hold them with such respect, forgetting that they used these wrestlers to be these horrible caricatures of their culture, and we were supposed to hate and fear them. That the xenophobia
Yeah,
that they were supposed to inspire, that again, wrestling fans back then and some wrestling fans now have a very hard time distinguishing reality from fiction.
very
And
true.
and that there's a lot of stuff that happened in wrestling. I remember back in the 80s, even then, it's the xenophobia and racism that ran up, was that
Ran wild, brother.
ran wild. There we go. It was if not, or was a really strong undercurrent in the wrestling audience.
Oh wait, are you implying characters like Kamala was racially insensitive?
Come on. What was
The
Kamala?
Ugandan giant,
The Ugandan giant, yes.
Who came out with
his
paint.
And his handler, Kimchi.
Oh my god, yes.
Who had the pith helmet and the mask, and you're like, oh,
yes.
What's that? And he was a cannibal. They implied that he was a cannibal.
I am surprised, by the way, because this is a great rabbit hole to fall down. I am so pleased that Barry Horowitz didn't get the $1 Million Man gimmick.
Oh, but was that supposed to go to him?
No, but just in speaking of horrible, insensitive treatment of certain wrestlers, the fact that we had, Kamala, the head shrinkers, and other people like that, and then you have the $1 Million Man, but then Barry Horowitz, the clear Jewish guy, doesn't get that. He also was an IRS, so
or the Brooklyn Brawler, who was essentially your Italian stereotype,
right? Luckily, he didn't even have a catchphrase. He couldn't even forget about it. But
just came out. And Brawl got his ass kicked. But what are you gonna do?
I would say it took him a long time to finally get it right. But the first one that comes to mind, who I think leaned into it beautifully and turned it on its head, was Eddie Guerrero. When he and Chavo started doing the "I lie, I cheat, I steal."
Oh yeah, but that was also the other stereotype, the stereotypical thing,
but I think that they were the one to me that tipped the scale over, saying, "I know this is what you want, but I'm going to lean into it and empower myself because of it."
Right. I get that,
and not just make it like Papa Shango or.
Oh, Papa! I will say this: I thought Papa Shango was a really cool gimmick. That was the voodoo priest gimmick. Very live and let die. That was the one where I really wish he'd stuck around a little longer.
I mean, look, I loved him as the villain character like anybody else, but sometime I was always afraid. Like there was him. I was always curious about Atom Bomb. Like what even was that supposed to be? Like
he was a human. He was a human reactor, yeah.
And you're like, wait, no, isn't that Kona Crush?
No, that was. And was it that? Well, the speaking of that, remember when Juventud Guerrero and they came out on the they came out dressed like landscapers, they came out riding lawnmowers and stuff. You're like, okay, all right, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
If you're gonna lean into it, man, yes, it was what it was, but. To bring it back home here, Solo Sikoa and your new family tree gimmick, welcome to the mid card. May you stay for a while.
Hey, you need a mid card. It can't all be openings and closings. I mean, that would be my wrestling name. the mid-card messiah.
At least you're putting yourself above the curtain jerker.
I would say, you want to know who hates me the most? Concession stands, because you don't go to get a snack when the mid-card messiah's in there. Like,
Isn't that exactly when you go?
No, you don't go get a snack because you're going to stick
because
around.
we want to see. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unlike Greg, the human intermission Valentine.
That poor guy. Yeah.
So I saw somebody online talk about his favorite wrestlers, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go against the grade. Greg the Hammer Valentine." I go, "Don't, just stop there. I don't want to hear anything else. You came out, you said Greg the Hammer Valentine is one of your favorite wrestlers, one of the best wrestlers. No."
Yep. And now tell me your favorite tag team is the Nasty Boys.
Well, they did have a gimmick. I'll give them that.
What was the gimmick exactly?
That they were named after a Janet Jackson song. and they had the gook on their sunglasses. Whatever the.
Yeah. It was something. And oh yeah, they had that great maneuver where they would shove you into their armpit.
Into the armpit, yeah. Because they were nasty.
Amazing.
They were nasty boys. Don't mean a thing.
Okay, white flag. Move on.
All right. And so that's it for me on wrestling. I'm behind. I did not finish watching Raw this past week. And by the time this airs, another SmackDown will have come on. We'll find out more about that later.
Yeah.
If you ever want to comment on these episodes, you can always go to the Torn Quadcast Facebook page where we post, or on the YouTube page where you can see that. And there are previous episodes. All the previous episodes of the Torn Quadcast are on the WRMN radio YouTube page. So always let us know. Beyond that, what was the other big thing? People are still talking about it. It's Superman, which came out last weekend. Yes. I gave my spoiler-free review last weekend, for the sake of my partner here, Mark Fishman, who hadn't seen it yet, but you have seen it. So we're gonna take a few minutes and we're gonna talk spoilers, folks. So if you haven't seen it yet, you will just, although I'm telling you, they're out there. I'm telling you, even before the weekend was over, people were already posting tons of spoilers online. They were talking about them on social media. People were putting out video clips. They were taking videos that they recorded at the theater and posting them online. I'm like, seriously, people, let's give everyone a chance to see the movie first before we do that.
True, as just a nerd and fan, can I say how excited that made me to see the reaction that it's getting?
Oh yeah. Oh no, no, I agree. I definitely agree, especially because before the movie was released, you had all that right-wing media talking about how the new Superman movie was woke, and again, I addressed that last week. Bunch of baloney. It is an apolitical show. Jake Tapper, who's on most everyone's, who has knocked himself off most every Democrat's Christmas card list right now, said that he went to see it with his kids, and he goes, he said first, it's an apolitical film. There's no wokeness about it, but he said that it's the first time he took his kids to see a movie and they didn't look at their phones. So it meant that they enjoyed it. And I think that's to the point. So many people are reacting positively to it. And I will say, as I said last week, this is the Ted Lasso of 2025. This was that ray of hope, that demonstration of kindness and all that. We'll dive into it, but tell me, Mark, what did you think of the movie?
I mean, I loved it, stem to stern. You had made a comment. It wasn't a spoiler, but it was definitely on my mind when you said there was some CW-ness to a couple of scenes, and I immediately called it out as soon as it happened. But just ear to ear smile for most, if not all, of the film. I was so pleased at what James Gunn did here, which to me was as un-James Gunn as I've seen him be. But what it really did is just open my eyes to the layers that that guy has. Like, to me, this was his essay that he was turning into the nerds on behalf of his Kevin Feige-ness and saying, please trust me. I want to lean into the lore harder than anyone has before because I'm going to test my theory that you don't need an origin story anymore. And that's what I walked out saying, yeah, there was absolutely, like, we got 4 lines of text and the movie starts, and no one walked out of my theater going, oh, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. They were amped. They wanted to know, like, oh, did you see that mural? Who is that guy in the back there? And how did that happen? And I don't remember the Green Lantern having a bowl cut. What's going on with that? And no one's complaining. They're excited. So I walked out. It was like just genuinely super excited and just basically fighting with my wife over who gets to take which kids to go see it next. So
I definitely want to see it again. I saw it on IMAX, which really you do need to see it. I have friends who go, well, I'm going to wait for it to be for it to go on home stream. I'm like, really, this is a movie that begs for the theater experience.
Absolutely.
I mean, see it in a theater. It's a lot of fun. Going deep into it, because what are people really keying into with this film is that Superman in this first, he's not ridiculously overpowered.
Correct.
The biggest complaint I'm hearing from nerds, the ones that are complaining, is that Superman gets his butt kicked all throughout this movie, and they're pissed about it. Like, he shouldn't be getting. I mean, I was just listening to Word Balloon, John Suntrish's Word Balloon, and he had Art Baltazar and Franco and a couple other folks on there. And the guy who runs a Terrific Con, I forget his name, says he went to go see the movie with Jerry Ordway.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Ordway didn't like the movie. Why? Why? Because Superman kept getting beat up. He didn't like the idea of Superman getting beat up. And I'm like, but I go, I can see there is a particular, he says, but he noticed it's a generational thing. Some folks from a certain age up didn't like it, and that into their, in their anecdotal experience. But a certain age below love it because kids are loving this movie. A lot of, I mean, again, I love Superman because again, he's the big blue Boy Scout. And ever since Christopher Reeve, I don't think they've been able to get that. As much as I liked Henry Cavill as an actor and what he was able to do, he did not get a great script. And I was not convinced with, Zack Snyder's take on it. Tyler Hoechlin from, the Superman and Lois show, great as Superman. His Clark Kent, okay, but didn't come across as a
CW sexy farmer.
Yes, and damn sexy, but still.
Yeah, but like, I mean, that's again, like, to that point, and that's everyone's got their opinion. I'm not here to
right,
to diffuse someone's opinion, but I'm just going to say, I thought they established it pretty early. He is 3 years into Supermandom.
Yes.
So he is going to get his butt handed to him, not because he's impervious to these things, that he doesn't even know necessarily the limitations of his power. He clearly doesn't want to damage or hurt anything. I was so glad to see so much of his focus in the movie was about saving people. It wasn't an excuse for punching. And in fact, like, one of the funnier bits, and since we're into the spoilers, everyone knows, like, there's this great scene with Lois where there's like this extraterrestrial huge battle going outside, and you of course think like, oh, he's gonna like rush out and save him, and he literally is like, nah, the Justice Gang's got this, they're good.
Yeah, it's interdimensional imp. They've got it. Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, and it's I appreciated that overall, that we got to see him And I say, look, I was as frustrated as anybody else. I'm like, the dude's got super hearing. He has got to be able to hear all of these letter, number, command things, and he's not a stupid guy. You would, if you keep hearing the same B12 and something happens, eventually you're going to have pattern recognition. But I'm willing to forgive it. I'd say, it's like one.
And he does figure it out by the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, also there's a great point in which he's fighting, and the system goes down, and all of a sudden, unencumbered, he can fight.
Yeah, he can fight. Right.
So I enjoyed it. I mean, like, I would love to take a deep dive just on the shout out to what I think James Gunn's serious talent is, which is turning D-listers into A-listers. And this movie, you know what I see and hear more than even Superman love and Crypto love, which are both like 1 and 2. Mr. Terrific is getting all the love out here, and I couldn't be happier for that character and for the actor who portrays him. We also got a great turn as Metamorpho from Anthony Kerrigan. I
forgot that was Anthony Kerrigan too, who I love. Yes.
Yeah, great. I mean, you wouldn't even know it if it.
Yeah.
And an interesting take on the character too, by the way. Like, he comes from pulpier roots, but they gave him a lot of pathos, and I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the powers and how they showed him, and he was clearly, he understood how to do it. We had a very good, if simple, Hawk Girl, and I like that she got a moment to shine. And look, the more we can talk about Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, the better, because oh my god, loved it.
I want to see how he fits in that Lantern show, because it's my understanding it's supposed to be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart doing their thing, and I'm guessing Nathan Fillion's going to fit in somewhere.
I imagine it's a cameo at best. From the log line from the show, it's a True Detective-esque Earthbound show, and Kyle Chandler, I think, he is playing Hal Jordan. He's 60. So there, Jon Stewart is much younger, so I have a feeling this is a quick pass the torch kind of thing. But who knows? I'm excited about that overall. I'm curious of your thoughts about Lex Luthor in this one.
He seemed like a pastiche of previous Lexes. I got a lot of the Kevin Spacey Lex from him. The Kevin Spacey Lex was really ruthless and mean, which I did not like Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor in Superman Returns. Mm-hmm. But I was there going, okay. Afterwards, it's like, well, who was it? I'm trying to remember whose commentary was that. Yeah, he was like the good boss, he has all these folks who work under him who are like, yeah, he's giving them orders, and they're like a bunch of gamers, trying to beat up Superman. I mean, I will say this, I loathed all of them. I loathed his entire crew.
Even Otis Berg.
I know, I loved they brought in Eve Tessmacher back, okay, which was great. Otis also back. I loved all those little touches.
Yeah.
But I did loathe his entire crew. It's like, this is Superman. He's a beloved character, and they're like rejoicing in beating the shit out of him. I mean, yes, he's got them convinced that he's out to, do some bad shit. So they think they're on the right side of things.
Yeah.
But, so even the best villains are the ones that you might not necessarily agree with what they're doing, but you understand why. So when you get into the whole thing about why Luthor is doing what he's doing, and he gives his speeches about, Einstein and so on, they could have all done this, but they were, there was always something else keeping him up. And then you get to the very end where it just turned into, I'm telling you, to me, it turned into Dr. Doom. He's just all out resentment against Superman, and that's what fuels him. Just like, Victor Von Doom is resentful of Reed Richards. And I'm only saying that too because I'm up to my ears right now and writing a book about Dr. Doom. So I'm there going, I saw a lot of parallels there, but still, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. And then, of course, it's the whole billionaire people. Nobody likes billionaires right now, so
Right.
it's like, of
They're
course
they're
he's
not
going
in
to do that.
vogue.
No,
Yeah, it was an interesting take for me. Like, first of all, I love Nicholas Hoult. I think he's an amazing actor, and I think that he chewed and spat out the scenery throughout the movie. I was a little taken aback with some of the writing. It felt uneven to me on him alone because I couldn't quite grasp a guy who apparently made his team memorize 2,500 battle maneuvers, but wasn't smart enough to understand that going in and out of the pocket dimension was causing structural damage to reality. Like, it seemed like he was hyper focused on one thing and let another thing, whatever.
he has very little attention to detail. I mean, many brilliant people are like that. Plus, ego. What is it? It's just he had the ego.
And like I said, it's we kind of foist upon these characters like all the traits and things that we hope they have, and
Right.
I couldn't escape walking into this not thinking of the Superman animated series Lex Luthor,
Yeah.
who wouldn't make a mistake like that. But I was trying to like chalk it up to, hey, look, if Superman's only been doing this for 3 years, Lex has only been doing this for 3 years.
Exactly.
We've got time. I mean, ultimately, like, I love that the movie was actually more about Superman and him finding his place and way than it was necessarily about a big bad. Like, yeah, it was there and it was a problem, but this wasn't a Batman needs to defeat the Joker because the Joker's done blah blah blah. It's just it was, you know, pre-plotted, and I enjoyed that. Obviously too, I also like just sort of the flippant nature between Clark, Superman, and Crypto.
Oh
Uh,
my God, that also, of course, everyone loves. If you didn't love crypto, then forget it.
Something's wrong with you, but
Something's wrong with you. That bit with crypto, I love how in the beginning it's like, you've got a dog. Yeah, it's more of a foster situation, and then that sets up the reveal at the end, which cracked me up. I'm like, oh my God, they're not even waiting. They're already bringing in Supergirl.
which, you know what? Like, that's part of my whole, like, my main event walking out of this was like, thank God somebody finally recognized that you do not need to batter your audience with lore.
Mhm.
Like, we as a society have lived through 20 years of Marvel continuity, and I feel like he now knows, like, there's shorthand now. I do not have to show you every first movie in the DCEU to come does not need to start with the thing that fell out of the sky and changed this person's life, and here comes the villain and blah blah blah. We
Although
can
there
just
was,
get to
yeah,
it.
no, you're right. Although there was bitching online about Supergirl being drunk and, oh wait, she's an alcoholic now, and what, that makes no sense. And again, it was just, of course, they were furious monkeys. The monkeys
Yes,
online,
so smart, so
like,
smart.
super shit. That one triggers me.
Yes, I all of it I enjoyed, and I mean, I guess a point to end on here. Uh, David Cornsweet, 100% owns this role for me now. I think that he showed the most nuance, and the script was there for him to do it.
Yep.
Between what it means to be Clark Kent, what it means to be Superman, and how he is figuring out how that works. I also appreciated that Jimmy Olsen was not a weird patsy. That
Got game. Got
yes,
game. Yeah.
quite. And hopefully not in defeat. Apparently,
He likes taking pictures though.
shrimp toes. I think maybe like I think maybe just because of the timing of it all, like Lois was good, not great. But like there's so much time now, and I'm excited for where all of this goes. I love the little dinks and dunks, the Peacemaker cameo,
That was
the
cool. Yeah.
Rick Flag Senior, which
Yeah.
if you are actually following the whole continuity, if you have followed from Suicide Squad, which was technically the first one,
To
into Creature Commandos to the Peacemaker show, it all does tie together in a smart way. and they're giving Rick Flag way more than that character's had in decades.
And the point too with Creature Commandos, everyone who does the voices on Creature Commandos will also be cast as the same characters in live action. So
God willing, if we get a GI robot in live action.
Well, that's Alan Tudyk, right?
Yes.
And we've already seen Alan Tudyk. What was it? Who was he in Superman?
Gary.
He was Gary. That right. The
number 4.
But
Alan Tudyk is also Dr. Phosphorus as well.
Right.
So
I'm
like, it's just a character.
Yeah.
We just need to see more Nazis dying on screen, is what I'm saying.
I think, yeah. Well, we needed someone to remind us how to be kind, and let's go back to punching Nazis. Yeah,
I think that'd do it.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
If you haven't seen Superman and you just listen to all these spoilers, go see Superman.
Well, I think we didn't cover everything. There was still a lot in there that
I could go a whole show on the movie itself. Trust.
Another thing I will say, it was a 2-hour movie. Did not feel like 2 hours. It flew by. There was always something happening. And David, as you said, David Cornsweet, he is our new national treasure. We must protect him. Yes. You see, with all the press he's been doing for the movie, showing his nerd side, his love of Star Wars. There's this bit on TikTok. He did a TikTok video where he's doing all the dialogue from the conclusion of the Death Star run. He's got the soundtrack, that John Williams music playing. So he's like doing all the dialogue leading up to it, timed with the music. God bless that man. God bless. The
kid's got talent. I can only hope for a Ted Lasso crossover.
Oh man, I'd be there, or a cameo. Just have Ted show up in a cameo.
Yes, yes, and Coach Beard. Can't have one without the other.
That would make sense. All right, so yeah, folks, go see Superman. It's a great movie. We're loving it here in the States. They're not loving it so much around the world, which makes sense to me. We're not exactly very popular in other countries right now. They don't want to hear about our truth, justice, and American way right now because we're not actually living it. So,
also true.
For Mark Fishman, I'm Elliott Serrano. This has been the Torn Quadcast here on the WRMN Radio YouTube page. We appreciate you tuning in, checking us out. Give us a thumbs up, a like, share us on your socials, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Take care, everyone.